Well, thank you for joining me. Today we are completing our track and field Olympic preview. If you missed the preview of the sprint events and some of the middle distance events that we did the other day, you can check that video out. It's already up. We will also link it in the description and also in the chat for those of you. But I want you to be here and have a great time with us. I want to do some more previews. There's a lot of events that we didn't get to cover because, as usual, I value your opinion, your input on the show, and if there's a lot of comments, we'll get to them, and that's why we sometimes don't get to everything. But I hope to go through a number of events today as well. But before we start, I'm hoping that you had a really good opening ceremony, that you enjoyed that. It was wonderful. I loved it. It was, sometimes a little bit long for some people, but I thought it was a really good opening ceremony. Saw the likes of Zizou starting it off, and I was really pleased at the end when you saw the likes of Amari Jose Perec as part of the lighting of the cauldron, and that was really really cool for me. So yeah, we're going to go through a number of things today, and I want to start with the relays. Let's start with some relays, and we can move things around depending on your liking. And again, thank you for joining me. So I want to start, and don't forget to like the video, subscribe. A lot of stuff coming on at the Olympics, and we'll be here to ensure that you have good watch along coverage if you want to talk with people, and also some great reviews after events and so on. So we'll be going live a number of occasions, multiple times per day, and that's what we have planned for you guys. But I want to start with the relays. It's always an exciting thing, and obviously we've touched on the sprints and all that in the last live. But for the relays, always exciting, very unpredictable at times in terms of mishaps are likely to happen. People don't get the baton around all the time, but we'll ignore that for now and assume that people will do what we anticipate. And let me start with the mixed relays, and probably all the relays in general. This is where the favorites probably will go to, but I'm going to go with the United States here. There's no real question around it, regardless of the times that have been run, whether at the World Relays or and so on. European Championships times that Ireland pulled off, or the Netherlands. I really think that they started as favorites. They have a very deep bench when it comes to athletes. The Irish are really good this year. They made sure that they won the European Championships, and they have some really strong athletes, obviously, with the likes of Rashidat Adeleke, and I'm assuming that she'll take part in that. I'm not 100% sure. Good efforts by people like Thomas Barr, Charlene Maudsley. They all play some significant roles. And the big question is just about how the USA lines up and how the other teams perform. And for me, I'm just to cut it short, I would say I think the USA would win gold. I think the Dutch might get silver and maybe get one back over the Irish there. I'm going out on a limb, and I think the Irish will secure a bronze medal, assuming they have the team lined up the right way. Are there others that could probably do something like the Bahamas? That will obviously require the likes of a Stephen Gardner to participate and maybe also be in good shape. But I think if we get some of that, then they may be able to pull it off. So that's where I'm going to go. Let me know your thoughts on this. And for the 4x4 mixed relay, relatively new event in the sport, and changes have been made over the years in terms of who run on which legs, and I think it should be good. Should be good there. That's where I'm thinking it's going to go. All right, let's transition and talk about the 4x100 meter. So the sprint relay. Honestly, as I said it before, the US should start favorite for all the relays, and that doesn't mean they have to win, but that's how I'm seeing it right now. The 4x1 for women. Let's start with the women. I think the USA will start favorites here. They should be strong enough. They really have a good bunch of women that can deliver stuff. Jamaica always there. And let's be honest, even when Jamaica has a really strong team, sometimes they lose to the United States. It's always a back and forth thing. The Jamaicans are defending champion from Tokyo. Probably should have broken the world record in Tokyo. Didn't happen. A lot will be based on what we get from the likes of a Shelly and Fraser Price and a Sharika Jackson. if they are really healthy and in great form, things should look different. But the US clearly very strong team. Their top three from the 100 meters are really capable. They have options of Gabby Thomas on the curve. Unless there are like issues when it comes to the chemistry and so on, I have them winning comfortably. Probably Jamaica taking the second, and Great Britain with a bronze medal for sure. How are you doing, Asira? Thanks for joining me. Oh, don't count out Poland. Yeah, I didn't even think about Poland this year. Are they even in the mix, to be honest with you? Yeah, this is that one I never really thought much about, but that's not a bad call there for sure. Yeah, I haven't even looked at the 16 again and see where they are in the ranking, but yeah, but if others, I like it when people bring up stuff that I forget or if I'm not thinking about it in a deep way. But thank you, and great to have you back on the channel. Great to have everybody on the channel. If it's your first time, welcome. If you're regular on the channel, much love to you as well, and there's a place for all of you guys. So that's women's 4x1 for me. We're thinking here, as I said, USA, Jamaica, and Great Britain. If they can get the baton around, they should be in good contention there. For the men, again, I think the US probably starts overwhelming favorites here. They have a really strong lineup, and with the likes of a Kristen Coleman that will start the relay like no one else can, and very fresh as well there in Paris, having missed out on individual spot. Clearly, they have Noah Lyles. There's Fred Curley, Kung Fu Kenny. That should be a really, really good team and a hard team to beat. However, for the first time in a very long time, the Jamaicans are really in good contention here. Oblique Seville, Kishane Thompson, Brian Level, Akeem Blake. Great baton exchanges if they can. Great legs in particular from Oblique and say Thompson, who may be slated to finish the relay. I'm not quite sure what the lineup would look like. They should be getting the silver, and if things go even better, there's possibility that they could do much better than that. But the lineup has to be, for me, Akeem Blake. I know some people are worried about the starting. Some people are worried about Level on the curve, but he's the 200-meter guy, and there's no other place for him on that relay. If not, then we're right. And so I think that's where it might go. I suspect Great Britain can get a bronze. They didn't, they had that warm up at the London Diamond League, didn't do as well as they wanted, didn't pass the baton around. But that's where you want to have it happen, and not at the Olympics. I think they should be in good contention, getting back a better, a fitter Zarnell Hughes. If he's trending in the right direction, should be able to do something. You can never count out the Italians either. They perform ridiculously well in Tokyo. One thing for sure, they know how to pass the baton. The same for, Japan oftentimes do good baton exchanges, even though they've had some mishaps in recent years. But I'm thinking, that they may be there. I don't know what to expect from a Canadian team. Maybe they're not strong enough this time to make the podium for me. But I'm thinking USA, Jamaica, and Great Britain as it stands right now. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Let me get to some comments here. There's a bunch of people coming through. Let's see what's going on. Michael, Cheryl, Michael, how are you doing? Good afternoon to everyone. Good afternoon to you. Gif, what's going on here? Good evening. Thank you. Good evening to you as well. And you got Botswana in the mix in the 4x1. Interesting. I don't see that. I can see them in the mix for the 4x4, which we'll touch on in a second. But that might, that would be interesting. All right. So yeah, so that's my picks, or not really necessarily picks. That's how I'm thinking things might be lining up. You let me know. You let me know your comments. Put them in there. Smash that like button for us as well, because that makes the algorithm and people know that a good thing is going on over here. And yeah, I know many of you might be watching the Olympics. I was watching a few things earlier today, but didn't spend much time on any of them in particular. All right. 4x4, the great relay here. This goes without saying that it's the domain of the United States. usually they win this comfortably. They haven't lost this in a long time. Obviously, they lost it in 2012, but this is a place that they've dominated, except for maybe the years. They didn't, and I think they didn't come to the 1980 games, obviously. So there are a few times in which the US didn't win the gold medal, but oftentimes they always come out on top. So I think they should comfortably win this. I think Botswana will be in the mix. France, the French team could do something. Great Britain, Belgium. There's a bunch of people in and around here. I'm not quite sure what to expect. Japan did really well at the World Relays. Even Italy looked decent recently at the European Championships. Yeah, it's interesting. What about Zambia? I don't know if they'll do anything. So it's interesting in terms of what we might get there. The depth of the US is so strong in terms of, and a lot of athletes are rounding into great shape. We saw sub 44 from Quincy Hall recently. I'm sure they'll put the kid on it as well. Quincy Wilson, who has been just moving up the ranks there, running a 44:20 recently, just continuing to break the under 18 world record. You have people like Rai Benjamin that will come into the mix. Norman for sure. So yeah, it's really for the US to lose in general. Like, unless something goes really wrong, they have a talent pool that's way out there, and I just can't see anybody really running them close for sure. I mean, they may win this with 50. They could win this with probably 30, 40 meters. So you just never know. So that's where I think their dominances are so good because of also the ability of the athletes. So yeah, that's where I'm gonna go on that. Let's see. Yeah, so put your thoughts on that, comments if you want. Let it, if you think the medals may go somewhere. But it would be good to see. It really would be good to see Botswana taking something there. It would require a good run too as well from Letsili, but he's capable of doing it. But it'd be a long run too. The US, I think they're trying to create crowning moments there. 400 meters is not without 4x4 is not without its controversy, especially when you think about the likes of a Noah Lyles, whether or not he'll run on the team. I think they are trying to market a gold medal haul for him that will elevate his status even further. But whether or not he runs it or not, I think they will secure this. They're too good for it. And speaking of too good, I think their women are also extremely, extremely strong here. Just for a quickie, in terms of the way I think the medals will go, I think the USA will win it. The Dutch will come second. I think Jamaica could get on the podium. The Jamaicans have always been on the podium for a very long time, but the USA are, overwhelming favorites. They have a lot of athletes, and clearly they will bring in the lights of a Sidney McLaughlin. I don't know what the status of her thing is. Did she actually go to the Olympics? She didn't look good recently, but there was early talks of her being in the mix, but I'm not quite sure I'm seeing that right now. But, Alexis Holmes, there's a lot of high quality athletes that they have that they should not run into any kind of a problem, and they'll just continue to dominate this for such a long time. I think they've won all the Olympics, right, since 1996, since Atlanta, if my memory serves me correctly. So they should win this easily. The only kind of thing that I might think that maybe a Jamaica team could sneak up for even a silver medal is what kind of shape we'll get a Femke Bowl in at the end of the championships. So it's quite possible that she will end up running the mixed 4x4, which might be a mistake if she wants to really be fit and fresh for the 400-meter hurdles. But it's going to be a ding-dong battle between her and Sidney McLaughlin Laverne for the 400-meter hurdles, and it's quite possible we'll see some times that we'll never see again when those two get up there. So if she runs the mix, then she comes and runs this 400-meter hurdles and then have to come back again and run in the 4x4. Will fatigue play a role? And here, maybe the Jamaicans might be good enough to get a silver medal. So who knows? I think that's where some of those things might go. I think the British team is also really strong. Ireland again, but it also largely depends on how much running Rashidat Adeleke will be doing. Will she be doing running in a mix? The 400 flat is not going to be easy. I think there's a lot of women there that could try to vie for the podium, as we did in our preview in the other show. It's not Paulino, Price, Kazmarek, Adelike, all of these women there. And so it will take a tremendous effort from some of these women to ensure that their teams are in contention come the end of the games for the 4x4. So we should consider that as well. Not quite sure if that will play a role, but that's how I'm thinking through it. You know, Ireland set a really good national record at the European Championships, going 3:22, and so who knows? But I'm thinking USA. No, I'm trying to think. Maybe I'm changing my mind on this. It could be USA, Jamaica, the Netherlands, but assuming Femke is okay, it's probably USA, Netherlands, then Jamaica. But I think Jamaicans should be able to match that in some interesting ways. Who knows? You could even get a really strong leg from Rochelle Clayton if necessary. It just depends on the configuration of all of these things. Again, thank you everybody for joining. I think Cheryl is saying you agree with me. This is a great night to just discuss some more of the events that we didn't cover. Starting with, and obviously we're starting with the relay, and I'm going to go into some of the field events soon and the distance events, because we have to give everything their worth on this channel. And I'll be around with you at least for another hour or so, as best as I can. I do have to drop off at some point, but yeah, but I'm appreciating everybody joining, and make sure you subscribe if you haven't. And I know many of you have, and really appreciate it. And hitting that like button really helps us to make sure that people know that we have a good thing going. All right. And if you agree with what I'm saying, I like to know. If you disagree, also make sure you put that into the comments as well. I see you're saying Nikisha Price is the only standout in the Jamaica team. Getting a medal will be a tall order. It's interesting, but I think, you think you put Clayton in it. There's a couple other women might be okay. I think you should get a decent run from Bromfield too. I think they're all edging. What you want is a lot of women that will be capable of doing sub 50. We're not quite sure, right? And yeah, they could be in around a mix though. It's not going to be easy, but who knows? But I do agree with you. There's no, there's not a bunch. They're not coming in there with at least a couple women running mid to low 49s and so on. And Price may have to, also Price may not be in any great shape. Come at the end of the 400 meters, she may have to run her life out as well. I think all the women running the flat 4 will be somewhat tired as well. So yeah, it's interesting, but yeah, that's a good point you're raising there as well. Thanks for saying that. All right, let's talk about some women's. Let's go to 5,000. Really interesting times that we're living in. I got to be honest with you. It takes me a long time to even think through some of these things, because you just don't know where it will be going. You're going to see a 5,000 and 10,000 and potentially marathon and all these things with some all-time greats in front of your faces, right? We're thinking about the 5,000 meters, and you're going to have women who are world record holders or previously world record holders from 5 to 10, right? Because currently Faith Kikiegan is still the 1,500 meter world record holder. She was also 5,000 until Gudaf Sigai took that. Then recently, Beatrice Chibet as well. And so all these three women have gone to the pinnacle of the sport when it comes to the world record part. And this is going to be really an interesting race. Really, really interesting race for 5,000. We touched on 1,500 the other day, but I don't know. It's ridiculous, right? Sigai is there. She had the bronze when in Tokyo. I think people might go sub 14 here, depending on what we have. I don't know. It could be tactical race. Last year in Eugene when Gudaf did the 14-0, what was that? 14 minutes 21, I think, in the Diamond League final. That was outrageous. And so it's really gonna set us up for some interesting things. There are a bunch of women that are also in the mix as well. I think Tei's in the mix. There's Isia from as well. Women have gone like 14:34. People who've gone 14, 18, and so you have Sifan, you have Sifan Hassan trying to do something ridiculous, which I don't understand, doing the 15, 5, 10 again and the marathon. But we'll talk about Sifan in a little bit as well. There's a bunch of other women. There's Helen Aubrey, but it's hard. So, and it's hard to pick against Goodhuff's a guy, but there's something special about Faith Kipiegan that maybe Faith ahead of Goodhuff. Maybe followed by maybe Tay or Isia. I don't know. I can Sifan be in around there? I think he might be a little bit too fast this time for Sifan. Yeah, but it's gonna be outrageous running in 5,000 meters. You don't want to miss that. Let me get to some comments here. What's going on? Resilient is saying, Resilient is saying 4x1 men is definitely the Jamaicans, definitely goal. Interesting. I like the enthusiasm there. Maybe you can help me think through like how you think that will work. I suspect, this is an interesting point that you're making. If the handoff is neck and neck, if the handoff is neck and neck or very close, and say Thompson is the anchor and he's in really great shape and he decides to run something ridiculous in the 100 meters, then maybe you could see it. Maybe you could see it. I think it's closer than we think, but I think Coleman would get them off to a really great flyer. I think it's going to be what happens on that backstretch. I think it also requires really good baton exchanges, extending the zone as best as you can, clean exchanges. That will be the real thing there. But I have to be honest, I can't see right now how Jamaica will definitely win that. But for the first time in a very long time, I think they have a really good chance of medaling and also a really good chance of probably winning it as well. It just depends on how it works, Yeah. So thank you for joining. I don't know how to pronounce this, so I apologize. I don't even want to butcher your name here. Arut. I don't know if that's how you said that. And you're saying you really like Tibogo. Yeah, Let's See for me is a special talent. We touched on him on the last live, if you didn't see it, when we talked about his prospects over the 200 meters. I think he has great prospects in the 100 as well. If he can iron out some technical deficiencies that he has, the lifting is not there the way I would like to see it in the end. His starting is decent. It's very good. He's coming out really well, keeping low. But there's something in that transition that it doesn't really have the fluid sprinting that you will need, but he's very young. So there's time for that. If I had to, I said it on the last live and we've been saying it over the last few weeks. If we could advise him, which we're not in the business of, I would say forget the 100, right? Even though he has a chance of being around there, so it's hard to tell someone that. And just think about the 200 meters, because the guys who are also really in contention for the 200-meter title, your Lyles, your Kenny Bednarak, those guys are doubling, right? So you could, if you're fresh, you could potentially be in a really good space. I mean, we know that Let's See this year has improved over his 400 meters, his 300-meter world best. He has obviously had some significant trauma when it comes to his losing his mother. So I don't know how that will ultimately play out, but we wish him the very best. But if he were to be fresh, if he were to forgo the 100 meters, you would have a really good chance of probably winning that 200 meters. And I think he still could do it. Yeah. I mean, Lyles should and will start favorite as usual. But as we've seen in the past few years, not a lot of data points to go with. Since Noah started the double, he hasn't necessarily run faster than 19.5 in a major championships or in championships that requires the double, including the US national championships, which is probably a small barometer, but not really that good of an indication. He's clearly in great shape. We saw it in London last week. But you have to run really hard, and I think the 100 meters is ultra competitive, and it could take a toll, but we don't know. But to echo your sentiments, I like the kid. The kid is really a special talent. I believe he has the ability someday to really take down some world records if he goes for that. But no one should really look at project world record. He should do project gold medals over world championships and Olympics, and that will come. I like him so much that I think he could be a really great 200-meter, 400-meter runner, something that we haven't really seen in a very long time. I look at him and I see, like, let's see, it could be the guy that gives us the kind of Michael Johnson kind of look, where you get someone really capable of running really low. He could go to 19.3s, 90, or wherever in the 200 meters, and definitely mid to low in the 400 meters. It's a hard slog for that, but he has the ability to do it. So I think he should get into that kind of mix. All right, what's going on? Unstoppable record. Thanks. You agree? I'm not quite sure which one things you agree on, but I agree. But I thank you for saying that. I really thank you guys for saying that, and thank you everybody for being here. And yeah, let's continue to make this live go really well. And yeah, so that's the 5,000 meter for women. There's outrageous. I mean, it could be good enough. It could be Sagai. It could be Beatrice Chibet. It could be Tay. It could be Sia. I mean, I don't know. It could even be Sifan getting back on the podium, because you just don't know. But it might be a step too far for Sifan Asani. You never want to count her out, but she does some madness from time to time that suggests that only an athlete of her level can do. Men's 5,000 meters. Let's talk about men's 5,000 meters. That is also somewhere out there in terms of the kind of ability of the gentleman that will show up there. Talking about the likes of Kajelcha, Gebruet, Joshua Cheptegei is back. I mean, he's going to try to defend the 5,000 meter title there. The last person to do this would have been Mo Farah, right? Farah defended in 16, right? Did he? Yeah, if I'm or something like that. And you'd have to probably go back into the 70s before we got that. There's Kiplimo. There's a bunch of guys there that it's not easy, right? There's other people to think through that could be in and around the mix for this 5,000 meters here. I still don't know where the gold medal will go. Part of me think Keljachla will win it. I'm high on Hagos Gebret as well. But you can't count out Joshua Cheptegei. He doesn't run as much, especially when we get to the 10,000 meters. He's probably going to debut his 10,000 meters at the Olympics. So it's not even a good way to gauge where he is. But Cheptegei is super talented, super special. Yeah, sometimes I don't even know where to go with some of these things. But I think all those guys should be contending. And then obviously, above all, we're thinking about Jakob Ingebrigtsen. And so Ingebrigtsen should double. I don't know if he will. I mean, he's won 5,000 meters back to back in the last World Championships, right? Because also being upset from the not winning the 15. You have Jakob, you have Gebret, Kajelcha, Cheptegei, Kiplimo. I mean, you tell me, guys. You really tell me. Yeah. It could, I don't know. If he had to put me out there, I probably think the way I saw Jakob, I think he might do the double. So I probably would go with him, maybe Keljechla, maybe Cheptegei, but who knows? But the 5,000 meters is just going to be outrageous there at the games. All right. Yeah. Thank you ever again, guys. If you agree, let me know. If you disagree, happy to talk more about it too. Yeah, but it's not an easy call, and I like what I'm seeing, because we're in a space, especially in the distances, where we're seeing some all-time greats here. Don't forget to like the video. I appreciate it. Let's move on to the 3,000 meter steeplechase. I want to get through some of these things, and obviously, I will come back uh, and get to some of your comments as well. And don't forget, you know me. As long as it's clean, it's getting up on the screen, and we're gonna address it. All right, 3,000 meter steeplechase. This is also a really, really interesting event. It's always been that way. We have the world record holder in Lemaitre Girma. Should have won a few titles already. He should go in again as one of the favorite or the favorite to win. But the problem with that is that there's always a guy, Soufiane El Bakali, who doesn't know how to lose major championships, really. He has won almost everyone in the last few years. We haven't seen a real successful defense of an Olympic 3000s, steeplechase title for a while. And I think the Moroccan is always poised to do this. I don't understand Lemaitre Girma in the sense that I think he should have won a major championship before. It's almost like a mental thing when El Bakali is in the race. But he's a tough competitor and he's able to deliver. But I don't know what will happen. I wonder if this is the year for Girma. Should be able. He's younger. I don't know. You let me know. But it's gonna be really, really interesting. There's a bunch of people too, like Wale. There is the other guy, Samuel Fury, if I'm pronouncing those names. I never remember how to pronounce these guys' names, but they're in the mix there, and there's a bunch of people that could do something. So the Ethiopians are there. They could running packs, obviously. There's the other guy from Kenya. What's his name? Sirim. So there's a bunch of people who could do some stuff who've already been on a podium in years gone by as well. So I don't know. I think you have to beat, if you're going to win this, you clearly have to beat El Bakali. I think we should say, I don't know, maybe, Lemaitre Girma should win this. But it's not going to be easy. Definitely not going to be easy. And there's also that kid from Japan that, really is coming into his own. So we'll see. We'll see. But that's going to be a really, really good race to watch. I hope you enjoy that one as well. And if we were to transition and talk a bit about the women's steeplechase, then that's also another race that's really, really going to be interesting. There's Beatrice Chepkoech. She's the world record all over the event. It's hard to call for me as well. I think she might be able to do it, but there's a bunch of women that should be in and around the mix. There is the Ugandan Chemutai, who's also really good. Ethiopia's not sending, I don't think they have a lot of women there, maybe two, if I'm not mistaken, but there's Almeyu there. There's, can we count out the athlete from Bahrain, Yavi as well? So there's a bunch of people there that should make the 3,000 meters really interesting. But I'm thinking that, I think the top two probably would be for me Beatrice Chepkoech and maybe Chemutai might be there. Maybe the bronze is anybody's game. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on that if you are a big fan of these events. Maybe sometimes people aren't, but that's where I'm gonna go. Let me just finish out some more distance running here, and then probably talk, and then we get into some field events and some other things, and put your stuff in. Let me know if you agree, if you don't agree. Also, happy to discuss that as well. Let me get this here. Resilient is saying, do you think Jaden Hibbert will medal? He seems to be in high spirit, and I remember watching an interview with him say he thrives when he's feeling happy and in high spirit. All right, since you brought up the Hibbert thing, the triple jump, let me go and talk a little bit about the triple jump since you brought it up, and then we can come back to some of the events of the distance and finish up. Or maybe I can intersperse some field events first. All right, triple jump. Hibbert is sensational. I think he's going to be in the end, he will come down to be a generational talent. It looks that way already. Probably would have won last year in Budapest had it not be for the injury. The thing about Jaden Hibbert that I am not sure I understand fully is why we haven't seen him on the Diamond League circuit. Why? He sparingly jumps. He doesn't necessarily jump under pressure for me. You want to jump with some of the big guys all the time to create pressure, but maybe he doesn't need it. So who knows? The triple jump is going to be hard. I expect him to medal because I just feel like the kid might have something special, and they were tinkering with the steps earlier this year. But it's not easy to medal in the men's triple jump because we are in a special place when it comes to athletes who are really capable, right? So we've seen an all-time jump this year. What was it? Was it 1818 or 1810, somewhere around there? I think we got from the guy from Spain. I think it might be 1818. I have to check again. My memory is always all over the place. But we have really high quality athletes, right? So Pedro Pichardo is there. Yeah, so the guy, Diaz Fortin did the 1818. Pedro Pichardo has also gone 1804. So those are the two men that's gone over the 18-meter barrier. If they're capable of getting those things going, if you can jump 18 meters, then you definitely get on the podium for me. I just can't see. I just can't see how you don't make it on the podium. Hibbert is currently still in third place with a 1775, which is ridiculous as well. Then you have the guys like Zango, who is really talented as well, knows how to win big time, being tough competition. So for me, I don't really know. I think Jaden definitely finishes in the top 4. I think he could get on the podium for bronze. He could win it all as well, but it would require him to go 18 and change. Can he do it? I think he can, but we haven't seen it before. He hasn't done it before, and he also hasn't really gone and competed consistently against these guys who've been doing it all the time. Zango shows up every week. So does Pichardo. So does the Spanish guy as well, Diaz, right? Yeah, there's also that kid from China too that could be around there. So it's the Olympic year. You have to do things. There could be different type of pressure there, but I think you jump 1775 again, you should be able to get on the podium. But I don't know. I don't know what it will take. But I think you have to be in a space to do it. I would love to see Jaden do some stuff because I think separate and apart from his ability and talent, I think he has a personality that is necessary for the sport. And if people recognize him this year and he can get some kind of audience there, he could be one of those athletes that really thrill the crowds and make them really want to watch the sport. But I still think if I had to bet right now, I would. Well, I don't bet, but I still would have Pichardo ahead of him, to be honest with you, even Diaz ahead of him as well. And, I think he and Zango will be around there trying for getting on a bronze medal. But who knows? He could just come out there and do something ridiculous and break Edwards' record, which was set long before he was even thought about, right? That happened in Gothenburg in 1995. And I remember that really well, and I can't believe it's still on the books. That's how good Edwards was. So I don't really know. I think he has a chance to medal. Here's the thing. He has the capability to medal. But one of the things is that you have to consistently hit those marks. And we didn't see him for a while. And even at the Jamaica Championships, we didn't see him. He didn't jump with the big boys. So I don't know where he is. No problem about that. It's your show to as well. I'm happy to kind of pivot to make sure that people are happy. I see you're saying I think you're saying the Burkina Faso guy knows how to get a medal in major championship. Yeah, I think so. Azango is really up there. And I think he's thing. And you're saying, so it's basically 50-40 of him medaling. Yeah. I think he has a good shot at medal. If you had to narrow it down, I think the medals will come from those guys. Unless somebody springs a surprise, I think it's going to come from Zango, Hibbert, Pichardo, Diaz, Fortune. That's where I think the medals may come. And it just depends on how you're good on that day. Can you hit it? I think for efficiency, you want to come in the first round, jump one time, and go home. And then you come and you want to hit a big jump right away in the final, something that will scare these guys and start having them go. So if you're doing fouls, then you start to mess up and so on. But yeah, someone can do a massive jump early and just win it early, right? Or you could win it at the death. So this is how I'm thinking. I don't know. I think he's definitely on course for a medal. You could even pencil it in, but I don't know if you need permanent markers yet because there are other really good quality guys. But right now he's still he's the third best jumper this year. He did that in a slight headwind. The other guys did their jumps in headwinds as well. And yeah, and he did it really, he did it early enough, early June. These guys also jumped their big jumps in June, but if you look at it, they're much more consistent. I think Jaden will be fine. I think he should be able to be around there and do something well, but I don't know for sure. All right, yeah. All right. Thanks everybody. Thank you for asking questions, for commenting, and contributing to the live. Don't forget to hit the like button. Since we're on triple jump, let's finish triple jump and do women, and then I can do some others. Then I'll go back to some other stuff. We've said it before. The women's triple jump, I believe, is wide open this year, and particularly because Yulimar Rojas, the world record holder, is absent. I think she went to Paris, but she clearly had the Achilles injury, had to cut the season short, and it's unfortunate. But the way the triple jump works, once you see Yulimar Rojas in the lineup, then everything else is silver and beyond. But she is not there. Lots of women capable of finding their way on top of the podium. Thea Lafond, I would really be happy about that. I think that would be great for Dominica in particular. Have some good friends from there as well. You can never count out Beck Romanchuk. She's always there, capable. The Cuban as well. I think she might be the one to win this year. I think triple jump is an interesting place to be. Jamaica always competitive there too, but this year I don't know what to expect from Ricketts, to be honest with you. I think consistency wise, I think Perez Hernandez from Cuba and in terms of the big jumps and Thea Lafon are up there. Thea did her 15-meter jump indoor anyway, and also a 1490 indoor. She does. I don't remember where she has the. I can't remember what our outdoor best might be. I think it might be in Eugene, so it's like low 14s there, like 14 mids. Ricketts hasn't gone to the heights that she's capable of. She could do 15, high 14s. I think if you can get to 15 meters and beyond, you're definitely on the podium. Well, will it be required to win the gold medal in Paris? I'm not quite sure. I think the Cuban starts favorite for sure. Somewhere maybe Tia Lafon, but Beck Romanchuk is always there as well. It would be nice to see Shanika Ricketts get on the podium. That would be lovely to see if she could find a couple big jumps. But I don't know if there's 15 meters in the legs this year. We haven't seen really evidence of that, right? Her best this year is 14.67. If she had given us like a 14.8, high 14.7s, then we start to think about it. And the Cubans, they have a couple women too as well that can be on the podium. So yeah, it's wide open as well for me when it comes to the triple jump for women. Should be exciting. It depends on what you do on the day as well. So that's where I am there. Since we're doing a little bit of jumps, let's talk some jumping too. Let's talk about women's long jump real quickly, and then I'll do the men. It's been an exciting season for the long jump. I think in many ways, Davis Woodall rather, she's been in really great form, very consistent, jumping over 7 meters a lot. I think about 4 times or so. And, some think she's the favorite, but to be honest with you, I think Mihambo from Germany coming back from her injury, going 722, I believe, into a headwind. She is a really special talent, and I believe she has the kind of clutch factor that I like as well. I do like Davis Woodall. I think she's really great for the sport as well. I think it comes down between them for the gold medal, Mihambo and Davis Woodall. I like Yapacino too from Italy. I think she might be interesting. The US also has what's her name, Moore, Jasmine Moore. She could do something. I want to see if you get something special from a Ese Brume from Nigeria. I bring her up because although she has not been having the greatest of the last couple of seasons, the thing about Brume is that she is really a big time performer in terms of she could force her way on a medal podium. That's interesting. So maybe Smith too from Jamaica. I don't know. Is another contender. Women's long jump should be healthy. I think you'll get a couple women, maybe 3 women going 7 meters for sure. You could get like, 7. Can we get 730s or and somewhere around there? That would be interesting. But maybe Mihambo for me, Davis Woodall, and maybe the Italian for bronze right now. But the bronze could be up for anybody's liking. Okay, how are you guys doing? Are you doing Ramadan Mohammed? I'm doing some middle distance. I did some already this before the show started. Before you probably got on. I don't know what time you got on. We talked about the we did 5,000. We did Steeplechase already. I think I have to go back to. I need my producer to tell me where I left off on the middle distances. I think I did. Did we do the 10,000? No, I don't know if I did the 10,000. So I'm going to go back to 10,000. I think we just had completed the women's 3,000 steeplechase when Resilient asked about the triple jump. So I just decided to pivot to the triple jump right there. But let's talk a little bit about 10,000 meters. Again, this is ridiculous. This year we have world record holder in Beatrice Chibet becoming the only woman or the first woman, because I think there would be many in the future, to break the sub 29 barrier there. Super special. What was it? 28, 54, 14. It would have been a great race to see if the likes of a Goodoff Sagai would have been in the mix as well. But I think Goodoff is not running the 10,000. So I think she's only going to do the 15 and 5 as far. I think she was initially entered in all 3, but on the Ethiopian team, but I don't think she's doing all 3. I think she's only going to do 15 and 5. There's the Kenyan as well that I like. What's her name? Rennie Guruk, I think, if I pronounce that correctly. And then obviously I think Sifan Asani again is there. We're going to talk about Sifan here because at this point it's going to be kind of an interesting kind of thing. There's also Gebra Salama. I like her. I think she is really, really special. At this stage, we touched on Sifan early when we talked about the other events. I mean, obviously Sifan is defending champion in 2 of the events, 5 and 10. Is it? Yeah. And she had a bronze in the 15 after the fall in Tokyo. Much older this time, not the kind of same speed, I don't think, also doing the marathon. So I don't understand the attempt from Sifan, because at this stage, by the time we get to the 10,000 meters, by the time we get to even the marathon, she would have done 10,000. She's in the 15. The 10,000 is really early, right? When is the 10,000 on? August 9th, I think. We have to check that. And yeah. Is it? Yeah, I have to check when is the 10,000 again. But I don't know if Sifan can feature here. Maybe she can. You never know. And then there's a bunch of other women too. There is Kip Kemboy from Kenya as well. There's other Ethiopians there. But I think it's gonna I think maybe this time Sifan might get on the podium. So I may say Beatrice Chebet, Gabriel Salama, and maybe Sifan. I don't know. Maybe that's where I would go with it right now. But it's hard to call for the bronze medal for sure. Good evening, Anna. How are you doing? Thank you for joining. Mark is saying full stop. I maybe I missed that one. If you wanna, but thanks for coming on, Mark. Yeah, thank you everybody for joining me. It's really good to be here. We've been on the live for just about 50 minutes or so, and yeah, thanks. Yeah, I think August 9 is evening session is a 10,000 meter final, and we've been, having a good time so far, covering a few of the events. So thank you for joining in, and obviously you can watch the stuff that on the rebroadcast and when we're done. But we're trying to get through some of the events that we didn't cover in the last preview live. And yeah, and if you didn't see that one as well, we link it in the description and also in the chat so you can enjoy that after this and let me know your thoughts on it. All right. We're going to go to 10,000 meters for men. That also is going to be amazing. So you're going to have like Keljechla, who comes in at a world leading time of I think 26:31 and change, 26:31.01. This Joshua Cheptegei. I don't know what to expect from Cheptegei this Olympics, to be honest with you. He is the world record holder, but he hasn't run any 10,000 meters as far as I know. He's done some 5,000s for sure. So what kind of role does he play here? The Ethiopians obviously return Solomon Barega, who is a fantastic athlete. He won it in Tokyo. Yeah, I like Nicholas Kipkori as well from the Kenyan. I think he's really, really good. I think this stays in Africa, even though we can't count out some good runs recently from like Grant Fisher, but I don't know if he's gonna even be in the mix because when the big boys, not no disrespect, I'm not saying he's not a big boy, but when these guys get it into a special territory, it's hard to hang with them. I think I'm gonna go with Yomif Keljechla, Barega, and Cheptegei. I think that's where I think the medals might go. But your guess is good as mine. Let me know what your thoughts on the 10,000 meters is. All right, since I'm in the long distance here, let me finish out with the marathon, and we get back to some other events like the field events, some more field events that we didn't cover, and there's also some multi-distance stuff that we haven't talked about. Anna is saying, I know really watching her running that Jamaica nothing, so I have nothing to say. No problem. Yeah, it's one of those things, sometimes, and I like that you follow the sport. I'm gonna say this for everybody in general. Like the sport of track and field is just an amazing event. And I think it's not people's fault. It's also I think it's part of the World Athletics fault or not to kind of figure out a way to market some of these amazing stuff that we've seen from athletes. Like if you ask me, I'll be honest with you, I think in the women in particular, that space from 800 meters all the way up, we are in a era of that we've never seen before. A bunch of women just doing crazy stuff. The men are okay too. They're not bad. And they're actually moving the needle too. But the women have a lot more space to grow. We've talked about this before. There's reasons for that I don't have to talk about now unless you want to know why. And so there's really good stuff there. There's really good stuff in the field that we don't really always appreciate. But yeah, dig into it. You realize that some of these things are just outrageously good. Yeah. So thanks everybody. Let me finish off with a marathon because I think this is some interesting stuff here. Don't know what to say here. There's gonna be people who the world record holder will be there. There is Kenya has Perez Jepchirchi. She's also ridiculous. She did beat the world record holder recently in the London Marathon, I believe. Is Bridget Kaskai there again? I can't even remember. I should have checked. I think she might be there. And then Sifan Hassan is going to run the marathon after running 5:15 and after running 15, 5, and 10. I like Sifan. She had done that really good marathon last year, and I thought she could be in the mix as well. There's a lot of people here for the marathon. I think it's going to be brilliant. It just depends on what we get there. I don't even know how to pick it, but I think you have to look at the world record holder. I think you have to look at Jeb Cherishi. You have to look at Sifan Hassan. Yeah, so there will be people there in the mix. I think Kenny will also have Jep Koskai as well in the mix. So there's a bunch of women there. I don't know how fast the marathon will go. I did look at the course when I was there in Paris. I think the marathon starts from in front of uh where is it? Hotel de Ville, I think. And then it goes throughout the parts of Paris. It doesn't seem like a particularly tough track to run. So who knows? I don't know if you'll get a 2:11 for sure, but you should get people running 2:16s, 2:15s. It could be better. Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting. Uh, on the men's side, that's also just ridiculous when it comes to the marathon. On the men's side, I don't know what to say there. You got a bunch of old guys coming back that could do something special. I don't mean it with any disrespect, but Elliot Kipchoge is there, 37. I think coming into this, if we had not lost Kelvin Kiptum, obviously sadly passed away this year from a car accident, we would just be talking about him probably doing this. But Kipchoge is going to try to do something really special. This would be his third consecutive Olympic title if he were to able to do this. You can't count him out. There's really good stuff there. Bekele is back at the Olympics. Kenenisa Bekele now what? How many years after he stopped going at the Olympics? He's 41 years of age, but running really good times too. Can he surprise? The Kenyans have some other good guys recently. Benson Kipruto did like some low 202s recently. So I don't know. I mean, it's gonna be really interesting stuff there in the men's marathon as well. There's some other guys I'm certainly missing out on, but can you get like two old guys figuring out a way to find their way on the podium, right? They have you know, there was a 203 this season by Gillette, I think his name is, if I pronounce that correctly. Probably don't. So yeah, that will also be a special race at the Olympics. I'm looking forward to that. Let's going on. Richie Pooh Sports, Bless Up Sports Tech. I'm the opposite of Anna. Track and field is to be respected across the board. You got Bekele is the GOAT, better than Mofar overall. Yeah, I think Kenelisa Bekele is. So you're gonna get me in trouble right now, Rich Pool, because somehow I still think Gebre Selassie is the GOAT. But it's hard to do. It's hard. Some people think actually the GOAT is really Kipchoge. It depends. I like Kenelisa Bekele. I think he's different class too. It's hard to go. It's hard to figure that out. Yeah, Goodoff is not running 10K. Yeah, I think I said that earlier. She didn't. It would be good to see her in a 10K, but I think she's only doing 15 and 5. But she was initially listed in the 15 and 5. Ramadan is saying Sifan. Yeah, Sifan will be around. She's doing 15 to marathon, which is outrageous. I don't know if she can make it on the podium. It would be nice. I really like Sifan. I have time for her, even though our manager didn't have time for me 4 years ago, but it's all 3 years ago, but it's all good. Yeah. Oh, Rich Paul. My bad. Sorry. Right. My bad. Yeah, I don't know. I think goat wise it's hard to say because the distance running is in an interesting place. Here's why I say the distance running is different and why it's hard to judge who really is the goat. The marathon has changed, especially if you go to let's talk about a marathon really quickly. I know a lot, this is not part of the preview, guys, but bear with me. Marathon has changed tremendously in terms of the preparation since even when Paula Radcliffe had the world record. How long ago Paula had it? Like 20 years, less than 20 years ago or something like that. And even when Gebre Selassie and those guys were running, the challenge, the improvements have not only come in the shoe, which is important. I think that's important. We have a bunch of shoes that have gone up the ladder to the point where World Athletics bans a bunch of them. But the shoes that aren't banned are really close below. Adidas is competing for a shoe that gives you back 100% energy return, which is bogus, but probably on point. But the real thing is the sports science have changed. I think also one of the big things that's changed in the marathon in particular is the gels. So the gels have always been around for a long time, but the way in which the time release of the gel works is just amazing. And it doesn't, the athletes aren't no longer upset by the gels. It just works really seamlessly. And the way they used to train a marathon, if you go back 20 years ago or more, the marathon, you would get to 20 miles and then it's just you're going to die. And you just, who can hold it out? These guys are still kicking, both on, women and men are really giving you some really good stuff at the end as well. And they're in as much as a good shape as they were at mile marker 15 as they are at 26. So it's a different kind of sport. It's hard to say, but the marathon of today is different from what we experienced many years ago, and that's a good thing too. So and some of these athletes who may have not run these times now, that's why it's hard to compare across eras, because you don't really know, right? It's the same. I think it's also the same in sprinting or anything like that. You really can't compare, Cinder to synthetic, or even synthetic early stages to synthetic tracks now, right? It's hard. The shoe stuff is different. The whole track thing is different. There's some comparisons you can do, but you can't get any kind of accurate measurement on these things. So that's why I don't know who the GOAT is, but it's one of those things. Yeah. Uh, Rich, Kipchoge is the marathon GOAT. Beckley, Gilbert Selassie excel on the track on the road. Mo Farah Rise was incredible, but he rose as African runners lacked the X factor and relied on a last kick. Yeah, I don't want to really say Mo wasn't great, because I think Mo was really special too. But Mo was part. Okay, I don't want. All right, I won't say this part, but Mo was in a project, where he delivered some really great times. No, Mo is up there. He's up there, but I think those other guys are better than him. But he has the medals, he has the career, and yeah, it's hard to separate sometimes. But Mo is super special though. I don't want to come off as saying he's not there. I think it's a step down from the others. Also, I think the sport has changed too with the marathon stuff, because back in the day we used to think guys move up to the marathon. When you got slow on the track, you could move up. So like the joke I used to have, and I don't want to make, I don't, it's not a joke, but I used to say this about Kipchoge. Kipchoge was involved in one of the greatest 1500 meters you'll ever see. But, then he eventually moved off the track. Some guys now are starting marathon right away. And there's a new generation. They don't even think about track. So you'll get changes in some interesting ways. And some people move up once they get slow, right? Like Sifan or so. I think Sifan can stick around for some more times. And I think Sifan can run 2:11 if she wants, right? I think, and maybe not at this Olympics given her schedule, but she could run. I could see Sifan running 2:10 or something like that. So it depends, right? It just depends on where we are. All right. Yeah, keep that coming, guys. Thanks everyone for being here. And I don't know where I am. So I think I just finished up all of the stuff on the track. I think I did. If I missed anything, my producer will ring me. Let's go to some more field events. I didn't go. I think we touched on some of the field events earlier. Let's talk quickly about high jump. High jump is really interesting place. Let's quickly talk about women's high jump. I think what we've seen this year from Yaroslav Manuchuk, outrageous. 2:10 world record. I think she's on course to win the Olympics with ease. There shouldn't be any competition here. The high jump field this year is not at the level as you may always want it to be, but there are some good women in and around the mix. Olislaga should be there. I think she should be on point for the silver medal. So I would say maybe Manuchek, obviously, Olislagas. But then the bronze, a bunch of women can be in and around there, including the likes of a Lamar Diston. She's gone 2 meters this year. I think if you can get 2 meters or get a little bit over 2 meters, you can find yourself on this high jump podium. I think Vashti Cunningham could do this. There's a bunch of people there. Angela Topic as well. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I think Yaroslava will just run away with it quite easily. But there's an opportunity for some women to find their way on the podium, and that might be interesting. Let's see where we are here on these things. Ramadan is saying if Sifan win marathon at Paris Olympics, it is extraordinary. Sifan still not full-time marathon. Yeah, if she were to win that, it would be crazy. If Sifan Hassan went to the Olympics and just ran a marathon, then I would say, yeah, if she won it, I wouldn't be fully surprised because I think she has the ability there. But to do it after the program that she's trying to do right now, I don't know how Sifan sleeps right now, because I have to imagine Sifan is clocking like 150 miles a week or something like that. It can't be normal. Yeah. All right. You want my take on the women's 800? Athletics. I think Mo. You think she curves a 400 success over the Arjibaji? Okay. I did 200 the other day on the other live. 800 on the other live, but I'll do it again really quickly. Let me answer that. I think more stuff. I don't know. I think is in an interesting space right now. Some people think no, it might be a mistake to have gone to Bobby. I don't know if I agree with that yet. It's always an interesting transition. I hope that she figures it out. She didn't look good last Friday at the meet there in Florida, so I don't know. I wish her the best. There's things that I've heard about. I think that I don't want to bring on the internet because I don't know how true that is, and I've not talked to her people to know this. So yeah, I'll leave that part out. Back to the 800 meters. I think I did it when I did the preview earlier this week, or whenever I did it earlier this week. I feel really confident that it's going to be Keely Hutchinson really easily this time. I just can't see anybody close to her. I do submit that the 800 meters is a different ball game when you go at the Olympic level or a major championship level, because there's no wave light and there's no pacing. But to run 154.61 is outrageous, and we've talked about that. Keely still is not the best tactician over the 800 meters. That goes to Mary Moore. And I think there are other women in the field that can be better tacticians over them, but they're not as good as Keely. At this moment, I just can't see her losing this. I mean, what Jamarika looked good the other day too in the London Diamond League, all of that stuff. So I think it's Keely for me, really easy, really comfortable, because if she can come back with a 155 low, 154 range, she's definitely in the 154 shape. I'm not quite sure if the other women can get up to that level. I still think that Makai will, not Makai, what am I saying? I think Mira Moore will still be in the mix. I think Prudence Sadagiso is also really good. Nakai, you don't know what you'll get from her. There's Nina Atkins from the US I don't think they're good enough. The French woman is not good enough either, I don't think. But you never know what home soil can do. Can we even count out a Jamarika now after doing something that special? If Keely doesn't win this easily, then I would be surprised. And at this stage, a lot of questions would need to be answered. She should have won last year. No disrespect to Mary Moore. I love her. But I think Keely should have done it. Tactically, you have to run the race properly. But if you don't run it hard enough and you let Mary run the pace on you, you might be in trouble. But that's where I am on that. Let me get back to some comments here. Yeah, you're right. I forgot to talk about Helen Aubrey for real Ramadan. She should be in the mix as well. Yeah. Manuchek is a phenomenal. Yeah, if conditions are good, all three medals would be near 195 to 90. I think they're going 2 meters for sure. I think Yaroslav is running 2.6. 206 for sure. I think if you can go 2 meters, you'll get on a podium. I mean, it depends on what happened in Paris. If it's windy and wet, as we saw yesterday, that can happen. Then we can revise what we get right there for sure. But yeah, you're also saying that Miramore, a two-way fight with Keely for me. Faith Kipiegan and Mira are close off that chart. What? That champion meant influence of the highest. Okay, you mean okay, right? So you're saying Faith and Mary are really good friends. Yeah, yeah. You can't count out Miramora, and I don't want to say that. I don't know if she has 154 in the legs. I do know she knows how to run her 800 meters better than most in terms of control. But we'll see. We shall see. Again, thanks everybody for joining. Thanks for liking. I'm trying to remember, what did I just finish before we went back to 800 meters? Yeah, women's high jump. So yeah, I think we're done on the women's high jump there. I just think Yaroslav for me should win that quite comfortably. Men's high jump would be interesting again. Very competitive, probably. Probably this time I'll go with Gianmarco Tamberi as favorite, but you just never know. He's gone 237 already this season. I like Hamish Kerr from the New Zealand guy. I always like the guy from South Africa, Wu. I think he could be in and around there. Last Olympics of Barshim, who jointly held the gold medal with Tamberi last time. Not quite sure. He's having an up and down season. He was supposed to jump in London. Then he pulled up because he said he didn't have enough space on the runway on the track to do his run up rather. So I couldn't really gauge what we'll get from Barshim, but he's super talented. Probably could go down as the greatest in some people's book. He came close once. Well, didn't come that close, but he was in and around the world record. Yeah, I think he came really close to Sotomayer's high jump world record. But yeah, I don't know what you'll get from him, but you can't count him out. I think he can find himself on the podium. There's also the American McEwen Shelby. He did a 230 this year. Javon Harrison will be he should be at the Olympic Games because he had the Olympic standard from the United States, even though he finished out of the top 3 there. So I think he should be on the team. But if I'm predicting, I'm thinking Tamberi will win it. I'll probably go with him there on the podium. And probably the athlete from New Zealand, Carr or Kerr, depending on how to pronounce it. And maybe Barshim. I think Barshim will do something special and just find his way on the podium. It's that kind of guy. Yeah. All right. Again, yeah, that's where I'm at with those predictions there. If you agree, let me know. If you disagree, also put that in, and if I forget something, I'm certainly happy for you to bring that up. I did do the women's long jump, but I didn't do the men's long jump. So let me finish the men's long jump and then I'll go into some pole vault stuff. Yeah, we're going through these things quick and fast because the comments aren't in as normal. No, I'm not complaining, obviously. Men's long jump, really interesting space again. I don't know how you beat Tentaglu, even when he doesn't seem to be at his best, which he is at this year. He's at his best this year. No disrespect to him. He finds a way. He's already gone 865 this year. I think Tentaglu will find a way to be on top of the podium. He just knows how to win. There's also good jumps too this year from Ihama. I think he's interesting. I think Jamaica has a good chance of getting 2 guys on the podium. I mean, perhaps 3 if Tajay Gale could jump well or find form, but he hasn't shown any evidence of that. I like the guy from Italy, Furlani. I think he could be in the mix too. Really interesting jumper there. But, Wayne Pinup, Keir McLeod, if they're in good health and lands a couple good jumps, they could find their way on the podium. But I think Tentaglu for me, probably Pinnock and McLeod could fight it out for a bronze medal. But, the long jump is a space, like the women, outside of Davis Woodall and Mihambo. I think you could get on the podium. And I'll say the same, Tentaglu might win that gold medal. But it's not a surety. And if you could jump a good series there, multiple men could also find a way on the podium. Let me know your thoughts on that as well. Let me get back to a couple comments and then we will get back. What's up, Jared? It's good to see you. Hopefully you're doing well. And yeah, let's see another comment here. Miramura, a two-way fight with Keely for me. Oh yeah, we did do that already. Sorry, I think you said Tambir is wonderful for the sport. Barshim will be hungry to claim a solo goal. Wu is wonderful. Another great contest awaits. What was your favorite event that you I don't like to talk about myself. I used to throw some shot put, but nowhere to talk about. Another comment here. Rich Paul is saying Jamaica have a trio of terrific long jumpers. I agree with that. I think they have good guys there. McLeod Pinnock can really go well. Yeah, those are guys who can go, should be able to go 850, 840s, even better, depending on how they are. Tajay Gale just hasn't been in the kind of shape, and he always awkwardly lands in the pit for me, and he doesn't always look so good. But at his best, he was but that's a good while back now. When was that? Like 2019. He's a 860 guy, right? Uh, so all it takes is a couple of things, Yeah, all it takes is a couple of things. Good series to win. Marvin, what's going on? Kieran McLeod defeated Tank Toglu once already this year. So for him, silver, E-Hammer for bronze. Not sure about Pinnock. Yeah, you're right. After that injury, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, I think McLeod should be on the podium. I would be. I think if you're supporting Jamaica or you are from that end of the thing, you'd be disappointed if a Jamaican wasn't on the long jump podium. And there was a point where we used to have a couple of them. We used to have consistent medalists at the Olympics. You got to go back in the day, obviously, but James Beckford, I always thought James Beckford should have won the long jump in '96, but the thing about sports and great athletes, sometimes they do something special, and Carl and that night was just outrageous. So, and as you know, Carl for me is the greatest long jumper of all time in terms of his what he's done. He didn't get a world record, obviously, but that's not it. He was near it. All right. That's where we are for that. What else we have to do? I don't want to miss anything. Yeah, pole vault really quickly. Let's do some pole vault. I think that should be great as well. The biggest surprise, obviously, for me is that Sandy Morris won't be there. She didn't make the U.S. national team. But, they'll have good representation from Williams, Katie Moon. Yeah. Molly Cordier, I think, will win it. I think she's been having a great season, so Team GB should be able to get something there. I like Nina Kennedy, too, from New Zealand. Nina Kennedy from Australia, sorry. And, there's other people there as well. Katie Moon should shine. Maybe Molly for me, Molly Cordier, Nina Kennedy, and maybe Katie Moon for the bronze. I don't know. It might be interesting, but it's the pole vault. Anything can happen. Men's pole vault really going to be good as usual in different ways. One, it's going to be the Mondo show. Mondo Duplantis, outrageous, all-time great, the best ever. I never thought we'd have seen anybody better than Sergey Bubka. I've said that on a number of occasions, but Mondo is the man. We often get tired of him trying to break the world record by 1 centimeter all the time, but I often don't want to forget that we're living in an era where we have a guy that can go to the limits of the sport. And I believe whatever Mondo does may be ending up in the end when he finally finishes on another world record, it might be the ceiling. And we just will never get anybody anywhere close to that for a long time. So Mondo should win this really easily. Other interesting guys there, Kendricks, Chris Nielsen, Wootton, the Filipino guy, Obina, should be in the mix as well. So Mondo probably wins it by the time you get to 6 meters. I would love for a couple of guys to get over 6 meters to make it interesting, but he'll probably win it somewhere around 6 meters or 6:05, and then he'll push the world record up and try to go for a super world record. That's what's going to happen in Paris usually. Whether he gets a world record depends on the conditions as well. Hopefully, it's a nice warm night, but you know, Mondo for the victory easy. Maybe Nielsen and Albina on the medal podium as well. I will go back to the some of the comments here. What's going on, Del Olivier? Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you too. Good afternoon to everybody in the comments. I think he's also saying, I think Molly has peaked early. She has lost her last two events and not even clearing 485. It's a good 4.85. Interesting question. I did see that, but sometimes I wonder if they pull back and then come back, you know. But we never know. I mean, it is pressure at the Olympics. Yeah, we'll have to see. I never want to count out Katie because I think Katie's always an interesting athlete. She could find a way to. Yeah, we'll see. We'll definitely see for sure. I think you don't put the gold medal around a relatively newcomer. Yeah, but sometimes one of those things happens. I don't know. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, but I take your point. Yeah. All right. I think that's that on. I did the triple jump already. I did that. Let's do some shot put really quickly. One of my favorite events. Let's go with the men. Interesting time in the shot put. Normally, I would just say the big cowboy hat guy, Ryan Krauser, and we just don't look sideways. However, this is an interesting year for Ryan Krauser. Some significant injuries. I mean, last year he had the blood clots in his legs and still found his way on top of the podium. He's, had some big setbacks this year, but he managed to still do some big throws. I can't remember the last how many years that I don't have Krauser on top of the podium, but this time I'm not sure. I would say I wouldn't put it against him to find a way and win, but this time I don't know if he starts favorites for me. I think the Italian Leonardo Fabri is having a bumper year, and I think he might do it. I like Joe Kovacs. I thought Joe Kovacs should have been throwing a bit more, but I think the medals probably for me will go between Fabri, Kovacs, and Ryan Krauser. Despite his injuries, I think Krauser will find his way there. He may win it all. I don't know how much more time since we saw him the last time he would be better. I think he could win this with a 22-9 for sure, or 22-8. Well, who knows? Who really knows? But it could be the year for Fabri. He's been having a really great season. But I wouldn't count out Ryan Krauser. Maybe all he needs is two good throws. One first to qualify for the final, and then a massive one in the final. And if he gets it right, he could win it. But it's the first time I'm not comfortable saying he goes in as the clear favorites, and that's only because of injury. For women, I am going with. For women, I'm gonna go with Sarah Mitten. I can't count out Chase Ely either. I like what I saw earlier from Jessica Schilder too. She had some really good throws there. I like the Ross woman from the United States. I think she could be a contender. You never want to count out Gong. Gong is a super, super special athlete. Knows how to win. So they could be in the mixes. I like what I'm seeing. There's some 20 meters around with a bunch of women there. Raven Saunders is back. As we know, Raven Saunders did a 1990 at the U.S. National Championships. She's back from serving her whereabouts violation suspension. She could make it interesting as well. It could be just whatever happens in terms of people finding the right series of throws. But I like the Canadian for sure. I like Chase. I like the Dutch woman. I don't want to count out Gong or even Raven or even JD or Ross to be on the podium. It's going to be interesting. Really interesting for me. Yeah. Let me know your thoughts on that. Let's see. Dell is saying the elbow will be fully operational by the start of the event. You have to throw it over 23 meters to beat him, and only Kovacs has done that. Yeah, on a normal day, I don't think you get in the mix. I mean, what we expect from Ryan Krauser is like series like 23, all the way up, right? But he said he's doing much better, and he started to work out and he, after the U.S. Championships, he basically had a good amount of time to continue to do the work. I feel he can do it. I just feel Krause will do it still, but if he's not healthy, and I think Fabric could get to 23. He's been having some good cycles, some good throws earlier. He could push up to there, but yeah, we'll wait to see. And you're right. I think you're right here, Del, on the women. I think it's dependent on who executes best on the day. I think one of those things will work. Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Marvin. I was saying never count out Gong. Yeah, I did mention her as well. She's always a championship performer, as you're saying here. I do agree. Even when she's not at her best, she finds a way. She's super talented. So yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm liking the events where there's a bunch of people who can win on the day. It kind of brings a level of interestingness to it as well. Yeah, yeah, and I think yeah, that's just want to put that comment up to you. Krause is all time great. Yeah, Krause is the best ever now. I don't think we could argue that right now. That consistency, last Olympics. I've never seen a series as good as that at the U.S. Championships and also at the U.S. at the Olympics 3 years ago. And the only one time he didn't win when Joe Kovacs pulled out that massive throw on him at the World Championships. So yeah, Krauser's different class. Yeah, different class. All right. Yeah, we're almost going into an hour and a half into this thing here. Let's do the discuss really quickly. I don't know if I had even discuss. I remember thinking through this. Okay. Regardless of the fact that Perez from Cuba has the lead this year, I think Valerie Almond would win. I think her series are always better. She's consistently good. I think Valerie should win this. I'm gonna give Perez the silver probably. You can never, and then Bing far from China, Bing from China, like you can never count her out as well because she always knows how to deliver major competitions. It should be interesting in women's discuss for sure. One of the things about this year when we saw some of the big throws in the discus on both men and women is they kind of happen at the same meet in Oklahoma, which is always a hurricane. But Valerie has gone 70 meters twice this year in Haywood Field. She's had some high 69s as well. Same as Perez. I think they should be on both of them should be on the podium as well, along with the athlete from China. So that's where I'm gonna go for that. Men's discus throw also a really interesting space. A lot of high quality men there, but we can't really think anywhere else but the Mikola Sanelka. I mean, what kind of a family you have to come from where your dad is an all-time great in the same event that you are now probably, if you can have a career as good as him, gonna outstrip him, right? It's gonna be an interesting stuff there. And maybe Kristen Che too can be in the mix. There's a bunch of interesting stuff. There's a couple of Jamaican guys there. Don't know if they'll feature, to be honest with you, because it depends on what you get. I've a hard time thinking about where all these medals will go. I don't know what happened to will Daniel Stahl do anything? He doesn't look that great. Can he get it? He hasn't gone to the heights that we normally expect from him. Yeah, there's a bunch of different guys from Australia too that can be in the mix. Yeah, gotta see, but it's gonna be an interesting season. Delison was expecting so much more from Perez, was hoping she would build on that 73 plus. Yeah, that's why and then you're also saying Almond should win once she shows up. I don't put much stock in. I put a lot of stock, obviously, in that meet, but a lot of people, there's a hard. People go to that meet because they want to throw far. It's usually windy. But in fairness to her, she's thrown some high 6'9", I think, or 6'8", 68 meters rather. What am I saying? So she should be she should be okay, but she hasn't beat Valerie since, I don't believe. So I think Perez has gone 68 twice. She did it in China, and she also did it in New York. And but Valerie's in a really good consistent series too. Both of them should be on the podium somehow. Somehow both of them should be on the podium. I don't know, but that's where I'm thinking. I know some of these events people don't really like. You know, I can skip some if we don't want. I think women's. I like the maybe javelin or. Uh, I don't know where the javelin will go. It's a really interesting space, to be honest with you. Uh, what we'll get this year, I don't know. Maybe Vladchek might win. Will Nira Chopper show up? I'm not quite sure what to think about it. It would be good to see some good Caribbean contingent if they could find form. Anderson Peters, can he come back? I don't know. I see Kishore Walcott is still around. He always finds form at the Olympics, but I have no idea. There's some interesting guys there. On the women's side, I think Kitaguchi always shows up. I think she should win this. Uh, there's a bunch of other people in and around that can be there too. But yeah, I'm not quite sure. Really not quite sure. I think it's going to be who shows up on the day for some of those events as well. And we'll what comes out of it. I'm intrigued to see what happens in the multi events for sure. Men's decathlon, I don't really know. The Frenchman is there, but I don't know if he'll be fit enough. I think he wants to come out there and do something special. The kid from Germany, the NCA guy, he should be in really great shape. Probably could be able to get into the 9,000s or so. Leonor Bora rather. Will Damian Warner do anything? It's also an interesting space in the multi events for men. I'm not quite sure. There's that kid from Estonia as well, I think he could do something if that's how his name is pronounced. But yeah. On the women's side, I'm intrigued by that. I'm happy that Nafi is back. Nafi Thiam is back. I think she's super special. She probably will win it if she's injury free. Anna Hall coming back from injury as well. I think she might be able to pick up that silver medal. And she was on course for some special stuff a couple of years ago, then got hurt. KJT, Katharina Johnson Thompson, always in and around the mix, injury prone as well. Can she do it? Probably she could get on the podium. So maybe those three for me, but there's other athletes in the mix as well. So yeah, but I don't know. Sonia, what's going on here? You're late, but you can always catch up. I know you're good for it. Marvin is saying, I don't think Anelka will lose. Check for silver and bronze wide open. Yeah, that's where I am too. I think Christian Che rather will. I think he'll be there. Yeah. And the throwers who adjust the quickest will win the javelin. We have seen time and time again, world leads don't win Olympics or worlds. You're absolutely right there. And I wouldn't count Neeraj Chopra out because I think he's been having an okay year, but he was coming back from stuff. Even the Pakistani guy could be in the mix. There's all of these guys that the javelin is hard to predict sometimes, to be honest with you. Yeah, it is. You're absolutely right on that. Yeah. So that's where we are with many of these predictions. I don't know if I missed out any events, to be honest with you. Maybe I have. I didn't do any race walking this year. I just didn't keep up with the sport on the race walking, to be honest with you. So I decided not to do a prediction because if I didn't watch any or follow, I actually don't know about it. I have to go dig into the race walking, but I haven't really looked into that. There's an interesting event this year. Obviously, there's going to be the mix relay on that, which is a new thing for the Olympic Games. That allows for gender parity there too. So some people don't like it, so maybe not on the gender side, but the relay part of it. And yeah, we'll see what happens there. Yeah. A couple more comments here. Dell says, oh, the hammer. Yeah, I haven't done the hammer. Yeah, you're right. We'll do that in a second. And Dell, I have the young American giving the Belgian a run. So Anna Hall, and you think KJT pass her prime? I mean, it could be, but she still says she's okay, but I don't know, right? It's interesting. Really don't know. What the thing about KJT for me is the idea of where is she health wise, right? She's been doing a few events. If she's healthy, she could put up a run, but I don't know. Uh, there's Veta too. I didn't talk about Veta. She could do something as well. Yeah, so there's some women there that could do a couple things. I think the Swiss have a couple athletes too that could be in the mix. The thing about that makes it also hard to do these the multi events is that they don't often compete. They compete once or twice depending on who you are, maybe three times, and because it's just grueling on the body, and maybe you rush against time to be fit. So, but we will see for sure. You know, a couple of people may go to Goatsis or Hengelo or whatever they call it, and that's how you kind of get a sense of where you are on some of those prediction stuff. But I'm not 100% sure I know where those medals will go, if I'm going to be honest with you. Especially, I mean, I want to see the Frenchman, especially Mayer, in front of his home crowd, but I don't know if he'll be in any kind of shape. Yeah, it's like a wait and see approach for some of these things, to be honest with you. Yeah, I did do a hammer preview, but I can't remember what I was thinking on the hammer recently. That's also an interesting kind of an event. I'm trying to think what I had said when I was doing it. Yeah, I don't know where I think we're in a space where we could see a fourth gold medal for Wodalski, but I don't know if she can do that. It's kind of interesting stuff there. What we'll get from the men, I don't know. Can Katzberg do something there? He's interesting. Wojecki or whatever that guy is, also the Polish guy, can do something. It's probably past the prime now for. Is Pavel even going to be there? I mean, I don't know where he is when it comes to the kind of shape, but he's 5-time world champion. Can he do something? Uh, if he were to do this, it would be outrageous. So yeah, I don't know what to think about the hammer this year, to be honest with you. Yeah, definitely don't know what to think. But it should be interesting. Yeah. I don't know if I've missed any other events, to be honest with you guys. If I did, because I went off course a bit, and no, I don't know where I am. Yeah. Oh yeah, forgot. Yeah, Cameron Rogers too. You're right, Marvin. Yeah, I think she could be there. You Hama's interesting. Yeah, Cameron. Yeah, she could do some stuff there too. Uh, the U.S. women could pull something out, but I don't know. It just depends, right? Yeah, it should be good though. It should be good. Uh, the it's one of the worst. It's one of the most dangerous events in all the track and field. Hammer throws, especially getting people to be involved in it. But yeah, I think we have a bunch of people in the 17, high 70s that should be in and around the mix. So yeah, we'll see. But the Canadian should, she should be there. She's really interesting too. Yeah. All right. Well, guys, it's been a good one. Let me see. Some more comments are coming. Yeah, I feel bad because I remember doing a hammer preview the other day, but I don't remember what I was saying about it. Let me see. I'm trying to remember all these things. You're saying there's Katzberg, so I think he should be. I think he will start favorite for me. Ethan for sure, uh, the Canadian guy, but there's a Polish guy too, Nozwicki. I don't know remember how to pronounce the name. I always butcher these guys' name. Yeah, those two. I wouldn't count out Pavel Fidek as well because he can always find a way. He knows how to win, but he's getting really to the end of his career as well. So yeah, we'll have to see. All right, cool. So I think that might be my preview for the Olympics. I may have missed. I don't know if I missed anything. We'll definitely get back and update predictions as usual. As I always say, getting close to the games, you will get information of people pulling out if they're injured, or you get more word on how people will look. As we've said, if you haven't seen our earlier preview, don't forget to check that out as well. It's on the channel. It should be good. Track and field portion starts next week. We'll start to get with some stuff. We'll do definitely live shows. I'll do some watch alongs while particularly for the evening session, because morning session is going to start like 4 a.m. I'm not sure I want to do any lives doing at 4 a.m. in the morning, at least on my time, Eastern Standard Time. But we'll do some evening sessions. And then we also will do some things in the evening again, where we'll do some review shows and see what happens. Really excited for this Olympics. We're going to see new people come in. We might see veterans find a way again to be on the podium. I do hope everybody stays healthy and be ready for this Olympics. Again, guys, thank you for joining me. I'm going to sign off because I got to go run to some other places. But hopefully you have a really good night. And, if you're coming on a rebroadcast, put your comments in. Let us know your thoughts and if I've made any mistakes, or if you disagree, or if you agree. I appreciate everybody. Thank you again for liking the video, for subscribing, and I will see you next time.